Hello, everyone, and thanks again for joining in another ORCS Past podcast. This time, we are going to listen from peer PhD scholars across the globe about their experiences in terms of how they join optometry research and things. Today, we have Dr. Subashree Murugan recently got her PhD, and she did her PhD from Indiana University, Bloomington. And before I begin, thank you so much, Subhashri, for joining us. And to begin with, can you share how was your undergraduate studies, especially with research? And we can start from there. Over to you, Subhashri.
First and foremost, thank you for having me today. I am glad I get this option to share my experience so far in the field of optometry. Um, so, I had a non traditional way of joining the optometry program. So, I finished my undergrad in zoology and biotechnology before I started my optometry program at Elite School of Optometry. Um, the first thing I had experienced in the optometry school in terms of research is all the little projects that we got to do over our optometry coursework, and especially in my third year when I got to do my project on occupational optometry. That was my first exposure, and my mentor then was Dr. Rashima Shogun. And she was a great mentor. She helped us understand how we have to go about doing research. And like she helped us ask questions that would spark new questions, which was very helpful to grow as a baby researcher then. And also, the other small projects that we did for our coursework helped me grow as a researcher. It was it was an eye-opening experience, though we were at the undergrad level. But that was the starting point for me to grow as a researcher. And then I moved on to join as a research optometrist after I graduated from ESO. I worked with Dr. Prema Padmanabhan and Dr. RRS as a research scholar in the cornea department. And I got a chance to collaborate with a professor from Indiana University. So that's when I got exposed to Indiana University. So I worked on corneal diseases then. So I used to see Fuchs patients, then keratoconus patients, uveitis patients, and we were trying to optimize an instrument called fluorophotometer and use it for different disease diagnosis. So that's how my research experience at Elite School of Optometry and Shankara Netralaya started.
Okay, that's great. So I understand you had a different background before you joined optometry program. By any chance, that helped you in terms of your current PhD? I see you had a lot of handling animals, especially mouse models during your PhD time. I just gone through your couple of publications. This is out of curiosity. Did that your zoology background help you in smoothening your PhD process? I just wanted to know.
It actually did. So when I finished my optometry and I was working as a research scholar, I was just looking at patients, and it just felt incomplete in the sense that I couldn't do more than seeing my patients in the clinic. And doing my bachelor's degree in zoology and biotechnology, when I got the offer to do a PhD, I wanted to have a combination of both basic science, that is zoology, biology, into my optometry knowledge. So my PhD work was depend or included both biology work and optometry, which was very fulfilling because I felt like have I could integrate both my biology and optometry knowledge together, and my PhD work was really interesting. That I could delve deep into the molecular aspects of diseases, eye diseases, and it was fulfilling.
So it's good to see that you got an opportunity during your undergrad, especially collaborating with people from Indiana University along with peer ophthalmologists from India. So this is like how I will not ask how many times you applied for. I believe you because of that collaboration you got an opportunity to do PhD at Indiana. Apart from that, what were the key challenges you faced during the PhD application process?
The key challenges while applying for PhD in the United States are having a good SOP because you're applying to a group of people who know nothing about you. They're going to see you on paper first before even they see you face to face. So it's important that having a good SOP, which will help them imagine who you are and how capable you are, was the first challenge. So writing a good SOP and having a good CV is important. And I had people who helped me write it, refine it, and make it worth reading for a person who is going to be looking at 100 other applications. So that's the first challenge, I would say. Next, at the time when I applied for the PhD program, we had GRE and TOEFL exams to be taken. Now it has become optional in most universities. So that was another thing. Because they expect us to have 300 plus score. So yeah, that was another challenge because again, we are not native speakers of English, so it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that could be overcome. So these are two main things that I felt during the application process was something that I had to go through as well.
Good, good. So, you mentioned that you had support from your peers in terms of refining your application and SOPs. So, can you share a few points on the how important was the role of seniors or mentors in specifically for drafting your application or when you moved there to US with respect to be it paperwork and other things?
So to start with the application process, there were mostly my mentors helped me to like read my application and say that, oh, this doesn't sound very appealing for someone who doesn't know you. So you need to refine it, show how passionate you are about what you work. I mean, they know me, so they know how passionate I am. But for someone who doesn't know me, I need to express it well enough. So they helped me write it in a better way. So my mentors were really supportive and like even in giving me recommendation letters. Then to like move forward after I got here, there were a lot of people. So in being in a new country and not really knowing anyone, so I did not have any family or friends whom I already knew from Indiana University, except for the professor. So he was very helpful and he introduced me to people, and people were really kind and they helped me through the paperwork, the administrative staff at IU, Indiana University, helped me work through all the different initial stages of the application process. So yeah, I had good support from mentors at IU and from Shankar Nethralaya.
Yeah, so that leads my to my next question. Like, as an international student, how did you adjust to the life in US with respect to the culture or the food? What were the initial difficulties you had?
Yeah, that was that my first year of my PhD life was an interesting experience. I would like it to call, I like to call it interesting now because I've gone past it. But it was hard being new in this country, and especially the first thing that was a real shock to me was the weather. It's extremely cold in the winters, and again, education system is different. So I had to go through several courseworks in my first year, which was mandatory. So the education system is different. So it took a couple of months for me to like get used to how things work in terms of taking courses, taking exams. So that was a true new experience for me. Then again, yeah, food and stuff. I'm very used to Indian food and I'm very easy Um, but yeah, it was an experience trying to figure out where all the international stores are. So it's I'm thankful that I had really good friends and people around me who helped me gauge through all these different circumstances.
Okay, that's good. So, moving on to the next set of questions, like you mentioned, you had initial challenges during your first year of PhD. Can you share a few tips? How did you manage those, and some key aspects to for the future researchers to remember when they pursue somewhere, even in India or outside, like how to manage the hiccups in the first year of PhD?
Sure. To be very honest, one of the courses that I took in my first year, in my first exam, I did not score well. I did not because even though I understood the material very well, the way they test you, the exam format was different. So my first exam was not a good one. So I went and spoke to the instructor, the faculty who was teaching it, and I openly expressed uh, what I wasn't sure where I was going wrong, so I had to talk to them, and he was very helpful. The faculty, he told me, yeah, it's a different system, so he gave me ideas on how to work, like what to focus on, rather than like because in India we are taught to write essays, pages and pages of essays. But here they don't test you like that. They test you on particular aspects of the material, and it's in the form of MCQs, multiple choice questions. So it sounds easy, but it is not. So the first exam was not a good one. Then I spoke to the faculty. They were very helpful. They told me how to go about approaching the material, not to just look at the material as a large body of information, but as specific and particular aspects of the material, how to focus on. So that was really helpful for me. And then I picked up, and it was a better journey than my first exam.
Good, good. So thank you for that. And moving on, could you describe what was your PhD and share some aspects on this and what really motivated you to choose those? Like, was it like a lucky aspect, like you just got it, or by choice, or you had to choose that with respect to the research topic, what you did for your PhD?
So initially, when I wanted to do my PhD, I was pretty sure I wanted to have both the combination of biology and optometry in my research. Um, One option that I had when I joined Indiana University is that I could do something called rotations, how different labs function, at least 2 to 3 labs. I could go work with them for about a month or a month and a half, and then I can choose which lab to work with. So initially, I got the option to rotate with 3 different labs. So I chose to work with one of the labs, and it was um, they were working on corneal diseases on and developing animal models for that. So it gave me the option of both biology and optometry research because I was focusing on keratoconus then. So yeah, it was helpful that I knew what I wanted, so I could align and pick a lab that would help me achieve that interest.
Okay, nice. Okay. Can you share like how do you see the contributions from your PhD is going to help in the clinical scenario, be it in India or overseas, especially with respect to your research, what you have done completed right now?
Yeah. So my work was focused on Fuchs endothelial corneal dystrophy. As optometrists, we see all the different signs of the disease on a slit lamp, and that's the extent to which we have gone, like as an optometrist. But to look beyond that, there are not a lot of um, therapeutic options for the disease. Currently, only corneal transplantation is a management option, but there is no treatment or pharmaceutical options for the disease. So, my work was focused on understanding the disease at a molecular level to see what is causing the disease. So, understanding that would help us develop drugs or even small molecule drops or something like something that can be applied topically to prevent the progression of the disease. So, I feel like that as optometrists, in India, our ability or care for the patient at the final stages might be limited, but our research, in the form of research, we can contribute to the well-being of a patient at a larger scale. So I feel like my studies so far has been able to understand the onset of the disease. So that will help develop a therapeutic option so that we can prevent the progression of the disease at the rate it does. So I think
Okay.
that's where it would be helpful all over the world, especially because the prevalence of the disease is about 7% um, worldwide. So I think this would benefit a lot of people. And again, corneal transplantations are have their own disadvantages, and the availability of donor tissues are less when compared to the requirement. So I feel such research that focuses on the molecular levels of the disease would be very helpful for the future.
Thank you for that. So moving on to the last set of questions. So can you share some essential qualities to be a successful research scholar or a PhD aspirant?
Sure. So one thing that I felt that helped me throughout my PhD program is being organized with every aspect of like even if your coursework, your research, it has helped me to have a better way to navigate multiple things at the same time. That leads to another aspect or that a student should have is being able to multitask, because as a PhD student, one thing that you are expected to do is juggle between coursework, research, teaching, because you get to teach other optometry students. So you have multiple things on your plate. And when you, in terms of projects, it's not just one project that you'll be doing at one time. There are multiple projects that you'll have to handle. So one thing that I feel it's important is multitasking. And again, not every research is going to be very smooth. There are going to be ups and downs. So it is necessary to have the perseverance to keep going and have self motivation, because without that, it's hard. No one's going to be by your side all the time, 24/7, and tell you, oh, you can do it. There are days when you are going to be by yourself, and it is necessary that you have that self motivation to keep going. And as I said, perseverance is important.
Thank you for that answer, Subhashri. So you mentioned you had to teach students as well over there. Did you face any difficulties with respect to being a teaching assistant, being like you have been in India for over like half of your life and suddenly moving there and teaching new grad students over there at US? Was there any difficulties you faced? I just thought I'll ask this question.
That's a good question. Thankfully, at Indiana University, in our first year, we don't get to teach. In our first year, we just attend classes. From our second year is when we start teaching. So the good thing about being a teaching assistant is you be a teaching assistant for a course that you took in your first year. So you already kind of have a good idea of the subject matter. So it's kind of it was an easy transition for me. So I knew what I was going to talk to the students, and even if I forgot some material, I could go sit through one of their classes and meet with the students later. So that was very helpful. But one thing that I have learned while being a teaching assistant here is that you are not on your own. You have people, so it's not. I'm not the only teaching assistant. There are other people to be with you. If there is some material that you are extremely good at, then you can do that or work with work on that topic with the students, whereas someone else might be good at another topic they can work. So it was, again, working as a team and sharing our workload. So that's something I learned as a teaching assistant. So that was very helpful to work with other people. And again, the students are kind of like friends. They don't look down on you because you're an international. They treat you as a fellow human being. So that again gave me the comfort to not feel shy or yeah, be hesitant. Yeah, if you know something, say yes, you know. If you don't know, just tell, yeah, I don't know. I will get back to you on that. So those aspects were very helpful. It was more casual conversations we had with the students rather than being like a strict classroom environment. So yeah, I would say it was a two-way learning experience. Like I was able to teach the material to the students, and the students helped me feel comfortable and get through those days.
Okay, so this is my last question. What do you think the future of optometry research, maybe in India or abroad as well? Like, especially, I just want to know in India, do you see any future potential optometry research and how different it is going to be from US or Western countries?
So I'm going to base this off what I'm seeing in the world out there, and I'm in constant touch with what kind of research happens in India and even in other countries. So I see a true potential for researchers all over the world, and I think uh, India has a benefit over other countries in terms of doing clinical research, especially because we have a lot of patient flow and with patients with different diseases. To be honest, when I came here not a lot of people see patients with FECD. Whereas when I was in India and I worked, I mean, I was an intern optometrist for a year and I worked as a research optometrist for a year. So even in that short span, I've seen several FECD patients. So I could see how research can be so much more better with the resources we have in terms of patient numbers. And again, if we want to talk more about like optometry focused research, I think we still have scope, and we have. I mean, as I can see, a lot of mentors, emerging mentors, right there now, who can actually help design good research questions and move forward. So I feel the field of optometry and the research in optometry has a bright future moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shubhashree, and wishing you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your experiences.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gopinath, for having me. This was good. And I hope this benefits at least one student out there who wants to take a career in research and do a PhD.
Thank you. See you.
Yeah. Mhm.